I left the city life of Medellin and headed to the Caribbean coast of Colombia to a place called Santa Marta. A woman with no plan, only the intent to get immersed in culture and surround myself with nature. I booked a couple of nights at this hostel. No complaints, cheap, clean, and a short walk to the waterfront. Where to begin? The timing of life is always divine. Bumping into the familiar face, my southern brother Will, who I met a couple of months before in Guatemala. Hey, they don't call him too tall for no reason. You would think a guy of this size can't get lost, but believe me, he can. And that's another story in itself. So it was time spent on the beach with locals at sunset, rich in interaction under the light of Venus. How incredible. And so it was, when one becomes two, Will decided to join me on my quest to explore more of the Caribbean coast. But first we headed more inland to be amongst the jungle of Minca. Minca is endless in its beauty, it's so diverse. All the greenery and scenery, a place to recharge and to reset. As we made our way to the eco lodge that we were staying at, one of them moments of gratitude just flooded over me. To be alive in the here and now is truly a blessing. Nothing but appreciation for waking up in this environment. The gratitude continued. Swinging in a hammock, anyone who knows me knows I love a hammock. Gratitude for this morning view. Gratitude for 100% plant-based foods for a good price, which I can't remember, my bad for that. Gratitude to have a semi-domesticated dog follow us everywhere like he was our own. We hiked up this little hill by the lodge for sunset. The dog's clearly happy, as were we. So here you can see Santa Marta, and now you will see the blissfulness of Minca. Two worlds existing simultaneously. Nature never fails to surprise me. The endless benefits, the beauty that exists at all angles of nature. To be in a place of stillness, to be in the now, the present moment, the gift of life. Going for a swim in your own secluded spot, not being disturbed by any outer chatters. To watch the mangoes fall from the tree and to forage them. Estoy feliz. A few days in Minca didn't seem completely enough, but I was satisfied and I felt recharged. There was many more hikes, many more walks, and a lot of yoga centres to check out in this area that I didn't get the opportunity to do so. But we decided to head back to Santa Marta, where we'd collect some motorbikes and head further east on the Caribbean coast. So what are we saying, Will? You know how to ride a motorbike, don't you? Yeah, I know how to ride a motorbike. This is the face of the man that fell off 13 minutes later. So after Will caused some havoc on the highway by crashing, luckily he wasn't injured, so we made our way to Palomino. We had no expectations, we just head there and it took us about 2.5 hours to get there. We arrived at this place called Maria Mulata. I honestly fell in love with the place. It felt remote but still had opportunity to meet people. I fell in love with the animals, the food, the beaches, the isolation, but also the vibrancy and the energy of that place just felt like home in a weird way. And just having the opportunity to see incredible sunsets and be around people that I could resonate with and feel safe with and comfortable with is also important when you're on the road. So there I am, just enjoying life, taking in the moment, breathing in the goodness. We thought Palomino was remote until we started to head to Riohacha. We topped up our motorbikes with some fuel and we arrived at Riohacha, which is far east of the Caribbean coast. The locals there literally were so excited to see us. It was like they hadn't seen tourists forever. All I knew about Riohacha was that it had wild flamingos, and that was the only reason why I headed there, and little did I know that I'd be expected with like such a culture shock. It was true Colombia. It was experiencing Colombia in a way that I hadn't before. How rural it was, how simplistic it was, but it offered me so much for my soul. It offered me insight to the simplicity of how people can live and how rich they are in mindset in comparison to people in the Western world. I know in my culture we can focus on the wrong things. Maybe not the wrong things, but the things that don't serve our highest purpose. We can be consumed and chase possessions and materialism. We can be completely absorbed by capitalism. Here, none of that exists. People are just connected to life, connected to their own sense of self and what's important. But what's important to me is engaging with people from all over the world and feeling so much love in my heart for people that I didn't know existed not so long ago. Ending my trip on the Caribbean coast, this guy stands out to me. He wanted to perform for money initially until I said no, and he just wanted to do it anyway. Moments like this always put a smile on my face because we struggle to share words through language, but there's no language like universal love. Universal love needs no language. Universal laughter needs no language. This is what traveling is about.
Mentiroso, él no es real como Dios poderoso y también como tú y yo. Y la reina, ella se llama Yemaya, Obatala está sobre la tierra, Obatala. Y Chango, el permiso pide ya, gracias yo les doy. Porque Chango él es así, pero Chango, buen amigo.